inshallah, Sheikh, that's on the way as well, inshallah.
Leave Safwan like this.
Yeah, no, we're bringing him, inshallah, Sheikh.
Leave Safwan like this. That's between me and him.
You ready?
No. That's not box?
No, I turned it off. Should I turn it off? Whenever you're ready.
I'm ready. Is it? Ready.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Okay, Jazakumullah khairan for granting me this opportunity from time to time to be here in your presence to share with you what I have, which I believe inshallah will benefit all of us, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you success, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you and put barakah in your life, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to say that which pleases Him. I guess the topic that is given to me is about Qadr, right? Okay. I totally forgot, but alhamdulillah. So inshallah I will be dealing with the topic, and I will spend about 30 minutes. That's the agreement, right? Allahu Akbar. So I will talk a bit inshallah, and then I will open the session for question and answers. I love that one more than the talk, inshallah. Qadr is one of the most important pillars of Iman that every Muslim should observe and should understand properly. And it is the most dangerous field and area to be dealing with in terms of somebody who is trying to go deep. It's a very sensitive issue, and the vast majority of the deviation in the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is because of the Qadr. And actually, the early deviation that took place in the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam was about that. Okay, one of the earliest deviations started with the issue of the Qadr. Is rooted back to the time of the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Some of those tabi'een from Iraq, when somebody started talking about the Qadr against Ma'bud al-Juhani, started talking about the Qadr, and what they believe in it is that there is no Qadr. Wal-amr uluf. Wal-amr uluf, it means, subhanallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't know what happens until it happens. Every single thing is initiated at that moment, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will know it. In the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you have three groups. Those who believe in Qadr not to be in existence in that way. We call them Qadariya. They have their own approach. Qadariya, they believe in Qadr, but according to their own interpretation. And you have, on the other side, Al-Jabariya. Those who believe that a person is the one who creates his deed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't care about that, and He's not even aware of what you do. You are the one who is creating your own deed. And you have in the middle, Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. These are the one who believes in the Qadr according to the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed. The first group, these are the people who said, those Qadariya, they were the one who said a person, Al-Abdu, is the one who is creating his own deed. And Jabariya, Jabariya is the one who says a person has no control in his actions. Which means, according to them, the one who goes to the masjid, he is not going to the masjid willingly, meaning based on his own decision. He found himself in the masjid because this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dragged him to the masjid. The one who drinks wine does that because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dragged him to that. The one who eats food, the one who makes dhikr, whatever you do, you have no option. It's just like a piece of plastic or paper that is carried by the wind. You have no control in your life. That's the Jabariya. You have the Qadariya on the other side, who believes that you are the one who is creating your own deed, and as such, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will judge you accordingly. He did not create those deeds in the way the Jabariya said, but you were the one who brought them into existence. And as such, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hold you accountable of them on the day of judgment, that will be justice. Because they cannot understand how is it possible that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who created our own actions, and also at the same time He punished you for doing something which He created. This is where their deviation came from. So they denied something which is created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be part of His creation. So that's shirk in that manner. And you have Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, who believe that human beings, we do have option and choice. There are certain issues which you choose what you want to do, and you do them based on your own choice. I mean, naturally, nobody among us who feels that somebody is pushing him and forcing him to do what he doesn't want to do. We are here. Who forced you to come here? Nobody. You come to the place willingly. This is part of our nature. So, but they reject that. They said, no, we the one who are creating our own actions, or we don't have any connection to our own action. So, but Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they said there are certain deeds or certain things which are taking place in our life, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates them, and we have no control over them. And there are certain things which we have control. For instance, the place where you are born. Nobody can question you when you're born in a place and the place is too evil, so bad. Nobody can question you and tell you, where were you born in that place? This is not within your choice. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already decreed that. But I committed sin. Why do I commit this sin? Can I use the Qadr to justify my action? No. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me choice. So this is in general the time about the group of people or the classifications of the Muslims among the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam when it comes to the Qadr. So when the first group of Qadariya emerged in Iraq, and they believe that there is no Qadr, understand, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't know what is going on until it happens. Those brothers from that place, they traveled to Mecca looking for some of the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And alhamdulillah, they met Abdullah ibn Umar, the companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they told him what they heard from Iraq. So Abdullah ibn Umar, he told them, you go back to them and tell them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not with them, and Rasulullah is not with them, and I am also not with them until they believe in the Qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he narrated to them the famous hadith which each and every one of us knows, that Umar radiallahu anhu said, بينما نحن جلوس عند رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم اطلع علينا رجل. He said there was a time we were sitting with the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم and suddenly a man appears. And this man doesn't have any sign of recognition to us. He says, لا يعرفه منا أحد. Nobody knows him. So he is supposed to be a musafir. But then we tried to see any sign of a journey in him, we couldn't find. Because he was very neat. You know, the clothes was extremely white. He was wearing long jubba and they were extremely white. And also his hair is extremely clean and dark. So a musafir shouldn't be like this. They just saw him now, but he is in this nature. And then he came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He came very close to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He tried to see who is this. And then he came in a strange way, in the way nobody does that with Rasulullah. He sat next to him. He put his knees, he connected them with the knees of Rasulullah. The companions couldn't talk. You know, he came closer. This is also Adam. وَوَضَعَ كَفَّيْهِ عَلَى فَخِذَيْهِ. And he placed his hand on the fakhid Jibreel, not fakhid Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. According to the best interpretation, he doesn't put it on the Rasulullah, but he put it on his. So he almost connected his, connect his knees to the knees of Rasulullah, meaning he comes very close to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Scholars said this is Adam when you come to learning majalis. So he put his hand on his thigh, the fakhid. And then he started asking the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He asked him about Islam, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him what Islam means. And then he asked him about Iman. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Al-Iman, an tu'mina billah, to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which means to believe in the existence of Allah, to believe in the rububiyyah of Allah, to believe in the uluhiyyah of Allah, and to believe in the names and the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what Iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means. So he said, Iman is to believe in Allah. Okay, Jibreel asked him, what is Iman? He said, Iman is to believe in Allah, which means to believe in those four things. Existence of Allah, rububiyyah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which means, rububiyyah means what? Allah is the creator, He is the owner, and He is the controller. Okay? And also to believe in the uluhiyyah of Allah, which means Allah is the only one to be worshipped. There is nobody who deserves to be worshipped except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also to believe in the asma or sifat of Allah, to believe that Allah has names and attributes and they do not resemble any names or attribute. So when we said Iman in Allah, we meant these four elements to be observed by a believer for your Iman to be completed. So he said, Al-Iman an tu'mina billah, to believe in Allah, wa malaikati, and His angels. Those are the creation created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from what? From the light, right? And they are a lot, Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the amount of the angels. They are a lot, beyond our comprehension. Because Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I went to the heavens and I see that there is no space that you can put your foot except that there are angels in that place making sujood or ruku to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And remember, you have angels here on earth. Every single human being has at least two with him. One on the left, one on the right. And you have the one Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put for you, he and the other Qareen from the jinn. And you have a group of angels in front of you, group of angels behind you to protect you from the evil whenever it comes without permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So every single one of us has how many angels? A lot. Okay, these are the angels with us. Imagine angels with the jinns. Imagine angels in the womb. Imagine angels controlling the rain. Every single Qadr, that is an angel who is controlled. How many angels Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has? Allah. So these angels, one of the main features of the angels is that they do not commit sin at all. One of the most important things we should learn from the angels is being dedicated to the one who brought you into existence. And didn't get bored. When it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, didn't get bored. Otherwise, how can you explain somebody can stay in the state of ruku' until the time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala invites him back? From the time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created him, he remains like this until the time he comes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the form of ruku'. So these are the angels. This is the second thing we should believe in, the angels. And we believe in them jumlatan wa tafsila. Jumlatan means in general. It means whatever angel Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates, we believe in that. Tafsilan, it means we believe in those mentioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to us by names. So I believe in those who I know, I mean, knowledge here by name, not knowledge by saying. And also, I believe in any angel created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether I'm told about him or not. And they don't have gender. They don't describe them male or female. It's just creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why some describes them as subdun arwah. It's like something that doesn't have a jawf. You know, we have inside is hollow. You have things inside. That's why you need to eat food. He said angels are not like that. You don't need food at all. Allah. If you go to China, you can ask about the way they are. Inshallah. So these are the angels. We believe in them. Okay, the topic is not about them, so I will not go into the detail. Otherwise, this is one of the most beautiful things to be discussed, because if you believe in the angels properly, I'm telling you, your life will be regulated on earth. The vast majority of your tragedies, you're going to stay away from them, because we have a lot to learn from them, according to that which is mentioned by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to us. That's the second article. The third one, he says, wa malaikatihi wa kutubi, and to believe in the books sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These books are not according to what we usually believe in. We usually believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent how many books? 4, or if you add the book given to Ibrahim, then 5, or the one given to Musa, if you said this is not Torah, then we have 6. But these books are not like that. There are many also, according to the number of the messengers. We have around 124,000 prophets and messengers. Around 315 amongst them, these are the messengers. The rest are all prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, according to the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So any messenger of Allah has brought a book to his people. So at least we have 300 books. At least we have 300 books. This is the indication found in the Quran that every single messenger brought a book to his people. So we believe in all of these books, whether we know the book or we don't know the book. Now, how many books do we know? Only 6, right? Torah, Injil, Zabur, Quran, and Suhuf Ibrahim and Suhuf Musa. If you say the Suhuf are not the Torah, that's only the thing we know. So we believe in all of these jumlatan wa tafsila. We believe in them in general, and we believe in the specific book mentioned to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Believing in the books, it means nothing except that believing in their authenticity, that they are all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do you get the idea? Before the corruption, some of them are missing. And we do believe that the only one which left intact without any modification or change is the Quran. It's not our own testimony, but the confirmation of those people who follow other books. Also, they can tell you this. So Quran is the only book that remains, and it will remain intact until the day of judgment. But we believe in all of them, because all of the previous one, before they get changed, they were given by who? By Allah. They were the words of Allah. But what happened in the case was nothing but the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked and commanded the people to take care of them. And the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot be like the protection of His creation. When it comes to the Quran is supposed to be the last book revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And therefore, since there is no any other prophet to come and renew and fix that which might be messed up by the people, then the book brought by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has to be curated and preserved and protected. So that's what happens. That's why Quran remains like this. Allah says, "Inna nazzalna dhikra wa inna lahu lahafidhun." Okay, so we believe in all of these books. Are we supposed to utilize them? Are we supposed to use them? In the way I use Quran, I also supposed to use Torah, Injil, and all of these. You have differences of opinion among the scholars. Some scholars said what agrees with our Sharia, we go with it. What doesn't agree with our Sharia, we reject it. Some said no, this is wrong, because when you follow what agrees with the Sharia, you are following your Sharia, not their Sharia. You're just wasting your time to say this. Some scholars said no, we follow whatever is mentioned in them, we follow. Whatever is not mentioned in them, we don't follow, we follow out. I mean, if we find something that could be followed in their Sharia, we also have to follow that. But question, do you need to revise according to the best opinion? Do you need to go through all of those scriptures? You don't. If you die without looking into them, you'll go to paradise. And that's the best approach, which there is no any other approach other than this. Because this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala designed the system. It comes based on abrogation. A prophet will come. We have 100,000 prophets. Each and every one of them is coming with different Allah says, لِكُلٍّ جَعَلْنَا مِنْكُمْ شِرْعَةً وَمِنْهَاجًا. Each and every one of you, we have given, to each and every one of you, we have given what? Sharia and the way of life. There are two things in Islam. Islam could be divided into two parts, Tawheed and Sharia. When it comes to the matters of Tawheed, no prophet has been given something that is different from the other prophet. They all brought the same thing. Why the matters of Tawheed are all the same? Because Tawheed deals with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is right. And Allah doesn't change. You know, I change, you age, your features change, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't change. Whatsoever is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in terms of rights, the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, He talks about Himself, this one doesn't change at all. But people change. That's why the other part of Islam also changes from a prophet to another prophet. As the example that I always give for you, in the time of Adam alayhi salam, marriage between the siblings is what? Halal or haram? Halal. You know, we're told in the history that one of them lost his life because of this. In our time, a person to marry his sister, what's that? That's very haram. So not only in Islam, also I think in every religion is haram. Even the cultural practice doesn't tolerate that. But according to the time of Adam alayhi salam, it was okay. Why? Because there was a need to do that. If you say that is haram, then the only husband and wife will be what? Adam. When Adam and Hawa died, khalas, finish. Only those children and those who they have then will remain, and then the human being will do what? Finish, extinct. But to maintain the continuation of human beings, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala legalized marriage between the siblings themselves so that people will continue. Up to the time where there is no need, human beings, the size expand, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stopped it. When was that? Wallahu a'lam. But until the time the human being don't need it, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them another law. According to the Jewish law, if you go to the old one, according to the Jewish law, if a person has najasa on his clothes, he has to cut it. In our Sharia, this doesn't exist. You just have water and remove it. In some situations, the najasa, you don't even need to wash it with the water. You sprinkle water on it, and that's more than enough. But with them, they can't do that. If najasa touches clothes, he has to cut it. He must. You can see how. But if you read the history, you see who they are, you will understand why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very rigid with them. The law is very tough in their case. Because that's just what they wanted. Ease have been given to them, they don't want it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala go with them. Look at the case of the Baqarah. One of them was killed. And they went to their prophet, they said, please, we just want to know who did that. Since you're connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you should ask him, please, we want to know who is the criminal. Musa alayhi salam Moses, he asked Allah, he says, we want to know. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, just go and find a cow, slaughter this cow, and take one part of the cow and just hit the dead person with it, he will come back. You get it? What are they supposed to do? Look for a cow, any cow. Get it, big, medium, whatever. Slaughter this cow, and the case is closed. Take it, part of it and hit that person. What you're looking for, you will get it. That's common sense, right? They told him, by the way, Musa, they're talking to the prophet, which type of cow? We have different lot. So Musa said, okay, what do you mean, which type? Just go and find a cow. They said, no, we need to know specifically which one Allah wants. Big, small. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Allah told them, okay, you should go and look for a cow that is not old and not young, in between. So now difficulty started to be placed in their life. Because before, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just told them, look for any cow and slaughter it. They don't want that. They say, which one? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it a bit difficult. Because finding that kind of cow is not easy. They told him, okay, no problem. We understood. Which color? How many colors do you have in cows? They said, which color? Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it more difficult. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told them, you go and find the one that is yellow, extremely yellow. Tasurun nadhiri. And in the way also, whoever looks at it, he will say, MashaAllah, so beautiful. But there are some colors which which they're yellow, but they're not nice. Right? One of the sisters in the old days, she looked at one of the poets, she says, you look like the Baqarah of Bani Israel, except that you don't please the one. Says, إِلَّا أَنَّكَ لَا تَسْأَلُ النَّاظِرِينَ. Anyway, just... So Allah told them, you have to look for this. So a bit difficult upon them, right? They look at Musa, they say, okay, we got it. Which type? You know, we have those cows that goes to the farm and those that stay home. Which one are you talking about? SubhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them another description. They have to look for a cow that never visit a farm, the cow that is not used for services and work, the cow that is not this and that. You know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says? Allah says further, some of the Mufassirin said, this means that they were almost not going to be able to do it. And you guess what? Had they failed in doing that, then the punishment has to come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because these are always the condition. When you look for a sign, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He gives it, if you don't follow, you will be destroyed by Allah. That's why when Rasulullah, our Prophet Muhammad, the non-Muslim in Mecca, when they asked him to bring a sign, they told him, if you can convert the mount of Abu Qubais, we promise you, if you can convert it, you turn it into a gold. We promise you to believe in Allah. He knows Allah can do that. You know. And he thought, these guys are serious, they will accept. So he talked to Allah. Ya Allah, they said if you turn it into gold, they will convert to Islam. Can Allah do that? Yes. As a sign, He can do that, but Allah did not do. The Prophet keep asking. Why? Because he doesn't know. This is one of our subjects, right? The Qadr in the future, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows, Rasulullah did not know. So he kept on asking. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-An'am told him, فَإِنِ اسْتَطَعْتَ أَن تَبْتَغِيَ نَفَقًا فِي الْأَرْضِ أَوْ سُلَّمًا فِي السَّمَاءِ فَتَأْتِيَهُمْ بِآيَةٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you have asked us a lot about this ayah and we don't give you. He says, if you can, since you insist. We said, no, you insist. If you can go and make some tunnels under the ground, you go and bring the ayah by yourself, do it. Or you can put some stairs, some ladders that can connect you to the heavens and go and bring the ayah by yourself, do it. But we will never do it, Allah says. Why? I'm telling you, wallahi, it is for nothing except mercy from Allah, because He knows, according to the history, nobody ever received an ayah and go with the conditions, and what happened to those people was destruction. And if He's to give the ummah of Muhammad, we might also reject, and Allah can destroy everyone collectively. Allah doesn't want that to happen. That's why He explained this to the Prophet ﷺ in Surah Al-Isra. He says, وَمَا مَنَعْنَا أَن نُرْسِلَ بِالْآيَةِ إِلَّا أَن كَذَّبَ بِهَا الْأَوَّلُونَ. The reason why we refused to give you the ayah was nothing but the fact that the previous nation rejected the sign. They looked for it. When we gave them, they failed to follow the conditions. Your people are not different from those people. If we are to give you the sign, they will also do the same thing, and what happened to those people will happen to them. That's why we did not give. And Allah SWT gave him the example of Thamud. So, back to the question. Are we supposed to follow every single thing that is mentioned in those books? Or we are not supposed to follow? As I said, the best opinion is, if you are to die without looking at any single thing from those books, but you believe in that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you, you will be going to paradise, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whenever a prophet comes, that sharia will abrogate the previous one. Up to the time of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he became the final one, so his sharia abrogated the previous sharia. Is that clear? So, what do we do? What we find in their books which doesn't go against our book, we agree with that. Okay? What we find in their books which goes against our book, we know that this is wrong. It's not part of that which is revealed by Allah. We disagree with that. But there are issues which are neutral. We don't know whether it goes against or it doesn't go against. What do we do concerning these issues? We also have to remain neutral. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, حَدِّثُ عَنْ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ وَلَا حَرَجْ. He said, narrate hadith. Go and listen to them, and you can narrate hadith from the children of Israel, and there is no problem with that in Islam. And then he says, لَا تُصَدِّقُوهُمْ وَلَا تُكَذِّبُوهُمْ. Do not testify what they say to say that this is true. And do not also reject what they say, because you might be rejecting the truth. You might be testifying something which is wrong, and you might be rejecting something which is truth. So if you don't find anything from your book to confirm the authenticity of that which they're saying, then we remain neutral. But we can narrate it to others. Why? Because Bani Israel, the Jews and the Christians, they live a very long period of time. From the time of who? Yaqub alayhi salam, up to date. So they have a lot of amazing things. And you know, the attitude of some of them that cause Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send to them destruction, and on, up to date. So the Prophet ﷺ said there are a lot of lessons we can learn from them. That's why he said we can read, we can listen to them, we can read stories from them. So that's how we're supposed to be dealing with the book. But there is no Muslim whose Islam is going to be accepted if he rejects any of those books that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent. This is one of the uniqueness of Islam. That we believe in all of them. Okay? And we believe in the nature in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed them. But we believe in each and every one of them. So this is the third pillar of the Qadr. The next one, he says, وَرُسُلِهِ, and the prophets and the messengers, and I've already told you how many they are. Okay? The books have been mentioned before the Rusul. The scholars said because the book remains. The books are mentioned before the Rusul. He said Kutub and then Rusul because the book remains. Okay. Books remain, the Prophet will be gone. This shows an importance, you know. And this is why, if you read the history properly, some of these books were missing because their people, they failed to hold upon the book. They kept on hanging around personalities. You know, they kept on hanging around personalities and they forgot what exactly was there in the book. And you know, human beings change from time to time. Those scholars of theirs, when they changed and they became corrupted people, they were corrupt. So when they became corrupt, they started putting new things in the book. But unfortunately, there was nobody in the community who knows what exactly was the original book from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because before, nobody was focusing on the book. They were holding upon personalities and human beings. That's why the scholar said this is the reason why those books went missing and we couldn't find any trace of them up to date. But when it comes to the Quran, from the time of Rasulullah up to date, people have been memorizing the Quran, focusing on the book more than the scholars themselves. How many people memorize the Quran? Just Allah. In this university alone, although it's not Islamic university, but I do believe you have a lot who memorize the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. True? So that's one of the ways Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used actually to preserve the book. So this is the next pillar, the article, and then the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told him, وَمَلَائِكَتِهِ وَرُسُلِهِ وَكُتُبِهِ وَرُسُلِهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ, and to believe in the day of to believe in the day of judgment. This is the day in which every single person will be brought back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for accountability. You know, we do whatever we want here, but there will be a day you will be brought back to that. Who created you for accountability? You're going to be questioned about whatsoever you did here. So the best way out of the tragedy of this life is to make sure that you monitor your activities and to understand how heavy is the accountability when you're brought back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to ask you about what you did here. So I will advise you as human beings, Muslim or not Muslim, whatever you do, you must make sure that you have an answer when you go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to that which you're doing in this life. Otherwise you'll be in trouble and you regret. And the problem is on that day there will be no regrets that will benefit the one who is making it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us good. The next one, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, this is the last pillar mentioned by him. He says, أَن تُؤْمِنَ بِالْقَدَرِ خَيْرِهِ وَشَرِّهِ, and to believe in the Qadr, whether it is good or bad. And that's the reason why Abdullah ibn Umar brought that hadith to give it as a gift to those two brothers who met him so that they can go back and share with the people of Iraq. So this is Qadr. What is Qadr? Qadr is the divine decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which has 4 pillars. Okay, try to summarize and to talk to you dealing with that which benefit, inshallah, without going into any much detail. Qadr is a divine decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We call it al-qada, we call it al-qadr, call it al-mashiyah, al-irada, you know, whatever terms given to it by the scholars, but this qadr has 4 pillars. Okay, you must maintain them. The first one is al-ilm, knowledge. The second one is al-kitaba, writing. The third one is al-mashia, that's the will. And the fourth one is al-khalq, as a creation. And they have to be kept according to the order I have mentioned. The first is the knowledge, which means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I want you to focus on this so much because this inshallah will solve all of the problems that you might have in the future concerning the matter of the Qadr. Knowledge means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what happened and what is happening and what will happen in the future with no end. Should I repeat? Yes. It means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what happened, what is happening, and what will happen in the future with no end. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, أول شيء خلقه الله القلم. The first thing created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was the pen. And right after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the pen, He told the pen, write. So the pen said, Ya Allah, what should I write? Allah said, write what happened and what is happening and what will happen until the day of judgment. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, فَجَرَ الْقَلَمُ بِمَا هُوَ كَائِنٌ إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ. So the pen wrote that which will happen until the day of judgment. SubhanAllah. Look at Izzah wa Quwwah min Allah Azza wa Jalla. He told it write, and the pen knows what to do. He said, what should I write? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him what happened. So that means Allah is going to inspire the pen to write whatever happened. That's why the scholars said, sometimes you might see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaking to Jamad. Jamad means non-living thing, something that doesn't have a soul. To you is something that doesn't have a soul, but to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is different. That's why He speaks to the pen. And the pen listens. And the pen told Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what should I do? The heavens, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the earth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke to them and they replied to Him. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To us, this is something else. To us, this is Jamaat. To Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is something else. Another dimension. So the pen wrote everything. This is representing the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, some of it being transferred to the pen so that it can write. This knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my brothers and sisters, wallahi, is beyond our comprehension. That's why we need to know our limitation and we have to be humble all the time. Musa alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam, he was giving a speech and it was a very special speech. So powerful, so nice. One of the people who were there listening to the speech, he was amazed with the way Musa was speaking. And then he said, Ya Musa, or Ya Rasulullah, is there anyone who knows better than you? Musa said, no. He forgot to say what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because if he doesn't know anybody from the humankind, there is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time. So he forgot to refer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this regard. But then right after he told them no, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent an angel to tell him, Bala, yes, there is. Even amongst the human beings, there is somebody who knows better than you. Allah said, Musa said, who is that person, Ya Allah? SubhanAllah, look at interest. He was a prophet, Rasul, not just Rasul, but one of the greatest messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's number 3. In humankind, in terms of ranking, Musa is number 3. You have Rasulullah, you have Ibrahim, Musa is the next. Then Isa alayhi salam, Jesus Christ, then Noah alayhi salam. But Musa, when he heard about somebody who knows better than him, he quickly told Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is that? Allah says, Abduna Khidr. Not Khidr. He says, Abduna Khidr. He said, our slave Khidr, bimajma' al-bahri, in the place where the two seas are meeting each other. Musa asked, he says, Ya Allah, kayfa as-sabil ilayh? He cannot wait to meet this guy. Kayfa as-sabil ilayh? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that long story that he narrated in Surah Al-Kahf, he told him how he can meet that person. Get a fish, the cooked one, the dead one, put it in the plastic. Wherever you miss that fish, the person is in that place. So he left here as a student, he and his student Yusha ibn Nun. They reached the place, they were so exhausted, they slept in that place. At night, Yusha ibn Nun, he saw the fish going out of the plastic. And it swims in the sea next to them. Wherever the fish passed, the place will become dry. So Yusha was watching until it disappeared. So he went back to sleep. I don't know how did he manage to see a fish going out and it was dead before and then managed to go back to sleep anyway. So he slept. In the morning, they left. He forgot to tell Musa alayhi salam. When Musa felt hungry, he told Yusha, where's our food? Yusha told him, oh, Allah, I forgot yesterday. I saw the fish running away. He said, where? He told him the place. Musa said, okay, that's mean the man is in that place. Let's go back. They went to the place, they found an old man. He said salam to him. The man, when he heard the salam, he says, salam in this place. He was so surprised. Who is the Muslim that is saying salam in this place? Meaning the place is so bad, in the way it's so strange to hear salam. So it says, وَأَنَّا بِأَرْضِكَ salam. And then he raised up his head, he saw Musa alayhi salam, he said, who are you? He said, Musa. He said, oh, Musa from Bani Israel? He said, yes. He said, you're welcome. How can I help you? He said, I just want you to teach me from that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted you. Qadr told him, he says, you cannot be patient. I look at it like, look at how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught him a lesson. We're going to send you to somebody that you are not even qualified to be in his school. So he told him, you can't be patient. Musa said, no, I can be patient. So Qadr told him, how can you be patient of something that you don't have knowledge of? SubhanAllah, the scholars extracted a beautiful lesson here. They said, فَهْمُ الْآخِرِينَ وَنَفْسِيَاتِهِمْ is one of the greatest factors to help you to live with them peacefully. When you understand a person properly, you can stay with him forever. One of the main, causes of disagreement between you and your partner is what? Not knowing each other, exactly who they are. That's why that person, if you can remember him, who says the first day he met his wife, he sat down to talk to her about what he wants and what she wants, to decide how do they want the life to be. SubhanAllah, he said he lived with her for 20 years without seeing something wrong. What kind of life is this? Nowadays, every 10 seconds there is something bad in the house. But he says 20 years he has been living with his wife, he never saw something wrong. All because of what? Blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also because of what? That discussion they had about trying to know each other. She told him, my dear brother, my dear husband, I do not know who you are. This is the first time I'm going to meet you, so please do tell me what you like, what you don't like. Because I don't want to be doing things thinking that I'm pleasing you, but you don't like those things. She shared with him what she wants and what she doesn't want. They lived like that. Qadr told Musa, there is no way for you to be patient if there is no knowledge. And this is who we are. The more ignorant you are, the more harsh you're going to be against others. Sometimes you fight a person because you don't know who he was. Is that possible? To fight somebody whom you don't know? Is it possible? Have you ever seen one? A lot. One of our professors said, in Medina, he just assumed the responsibility, just get into the office. He was the deputy rector student affairs in Medina. He said, I just get into the office, a student come in. And he started, you are this, you are that, you are this, you are that. I was like, I just get in the office. What did I do to this guy? What kind of job is this, He said he was shouting. The name of the student was Muhammad. And he says, unfortunately, this brother was my neighbor, and we have a very good relationship with him. SubhanAllah. He said he kept on shouting, and I was just like that. What did I accept for myself? So he doesn't want to stop, talk, because he has a right, and the previous one did something wrong, So he never knew that there is a change. And then after he talked so much, I realized that the boy is not going to stop talking. I raised up my head, I said, Muhammad. When he heard my voice, he says, is that you? SubhanAllah. And then he kept an apology. He said, Wallahi, I did not know. So he was teaching us tarbiyah. He was giving us the same example. He says, sometimes you fight a person because you don't know him. This is exactly what is happening. So this is a very good principle. I'm telling you, Qadr was giving the whole world. For you, if you want to succeed in your relationship with others, you have to know those people, who they are. What do they like and what they don't like? Because I'm telling you, sometimes we might be doing things thinking that we're pleasing them, but they don't like it. That's why he says, وَكَيْفَ تَصْبِرُ عَلَى مَا لَمْ تَهِدْ بِهِ خُبْرًا. You have no knowledge about something. How do you think you can be patient about that? Musa said, test me, I can do. Qadr told him, have only one question, which is, I'm going to let you come with me, but do not ask me about anything. Whatever you see, don't tell me why. Musa said, that's so simple. He thought it's simple. No, he said, so simple. He said, let's go. The first time they get on the boat, and this is the place actually I need to talk about how great is the knowledge of Allah. It looks like Qadr was informed about what brought Musa alayhi salam. He told Musa, when they were sitting on the boat, a small bird comes, pick up water, small tiny bird comes and then sat at the side of the boat and gets water and then flies. Qadr was watching and Musa also was watching. And then Qadr was saying, Musa, did you see the bird? He said, yes, I saw it. He said, did you see what it did? He said, yes, yes. What did you do? Pick up water and go. He says, Musa, let me tell you something. Inni ala ilmin min ilmillah. I am upon a knowledge from Allah. La ta'lamuhu ant. Allah has granted me knowledge which you don't know anything about it. He says, wa anta ala ilmin min ilmillah. La a'lamuhu ana. That's a great knowledge Musa has to learn first. He says, and you also has been given a knowledge by Allah which I don't know. And both of us, we are somehow considered the most knowledgeable ones amongst the human beings. My knowledge and your knowledge, if we put them all together in comparison to the knowledge of Allah, is just like the sea or the ocean. The knowledge of Allah is like the sea. My knowledge and your knowledge is nothing but that which is picked up by the bird. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا أُوتِيتُ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. You have not been given a knowledge except a bit. Angels have been given a knowledge which we did not spell it up to date. A person to be cut, you use knife, you cut him. We were not told about them putting something or dragging Rasulullah for them to cut him. And he doesn't feel anything. And they were using what? Something they've been taught by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala how to do it. They bring his heart in front of his eyes, he saw it, and then they open it, they remove what they remove, they put it back, and they put it inside his chest. And he was watching them. They closed it, they saw it, they saw it. Anas bin Malik said, you can see the sign, I saw it on the chest of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sulaiman alayhi salam, during time of Sulaiman, Balqis, when he brought the bed from Yemen, Rasulullah was told by Allah that somebody used knowledge to bring the bed to Palestine. Which knowledge could be used that can bring a huge bed to Palestine within the blink of an eye? Close your eyes and open it. But this is knowledge. Even some scholars said this is something that was used by humankind, but the one who brought it was angels. It was an angel who brought, or the angels brought it. But whatever the case might be, this is the bit that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted us. All of this knowledge that you see people are, proud of having, they're little. They're so insignificant in comparison to that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has. So that's why the first pillar in Iman is to believe that all of the tenses, the three tenses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware of them. He knows what happened and what is happening and what will happen. Do you listen? Inshallah. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, I want you also to pay attention here. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Inna ahadakum والذي نفسي بيده إن أحدكم ليعمل بعمل أهل الجنة. One of you will be doing things according to the path of the people of paradise. حتى ما يكون بينه وبينها إلا ذراع. Until there is nothing between him and paradise except just one ذراع, like this. Or shibr, just one step to get inside the paradise. فيسبق عليه الكتاب فيعمل بعمل أهل النار فيدخلها. And then the book, the Qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will supersede that action that appears to us. He will do something that will take him to hell, and he will be going to hell. This hadith, if you understand it literally, we're in trouble. It might demotivate you. There is another hadith which says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has picked up one hand of people. He picked up people with his hand, and then he showed them to the angels and said, هَذِهِ إِلَى الْجَنَّةِ. These are going to paradise. وَلَا أُبَالِي, and I don't care. In another narration, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the second part of the hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Allah pick up another group of people and he said, these are going to hell and I don't care. If you look at this, also you will be confused. The Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith of Suraq ibn Malik, he says, there is nobody amongst you except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows his position in hell and knows his position in paradise. So one of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ said, Ya Rasulullah, if this is the case, then what is the point of practicing the deen? Because you might be praying to Allah, you might be doing this and that, but your name is written in hell. At the end of the day, you go to that place. The Prophet ﷺ said, no, it is not like that. He says, اعملوا فكل ميسر لما خلق له. Your job is to practice the deen because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making things easy for you towards that which He has created you for. I brought this hadith for you to explain a fact which people usually ask about. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already decreed, then what's the point of this? We said what is decreed is what? The knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is written in the book is the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the position of each and every one of us and what are we going to be doing 50,000 years before the creation of the universe. The universe has not been created yet. But this is written in the Lawh al-Mahfuz. What is Allah writing there? Knowledge. His knowledge about the future and the choices of each and every one of us. So we, the human beings, were not created like the angels. The angels, they didn't have a choice. Or we can say they have a choice, but Allah created them in a way they don't know something called disobedience. Human beings are not like that. We are given the choice to choose yes or to choose no. And to choose the way we want to do things is up to us. But Allah, what did He write in the book before our creation? Is His knowledge about our choices. Very simple concept. The knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about what Ibrahim will choose, what Ali will choose, what Bashir, what Khidr, what Fulan, what this person will choose, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala write it down. That this person will never choose paradise regardless of what? The da'wah and the invitation given to him by the messengers of Allah. He will never agree with the message. So Allah wrote that. And that will never change because the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can never become wrong. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this will happen, it is going to happen in the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants it to happen. Why? Not because Allah is forcing you to make it like that, but because Allah knows that you're going to make it like that, so He wrote it like this. The Pharaoh went to hell. Allah already wrote 50,000 years ago that Pharaoh is going to hell. Why? Because this is what he will be choosing. But to tell you that my job is not to depend on that Qadr, that's why Allah sent to him who? Moses. Allah knows that Pharaoh is not going to accept the message. But He still sent to him a prophet to invite him to the right thing to be done. To teach you and I that we are not supposed to depend on the Qadr. We are not supposed to depend on the Qadr. We are supposed to focus on that which is given to us by the revelations. So the first pillar is what? Is the knowledge. We believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge encompasses everything. He knows what happened and what will happen and what is happening until the day of judgment. The second pillar of Qadr is, what is the second one? Al-Kitab, writings, right? This is what the Prophet ﷺ talked about when he said the pen wrote everything until the day of judgment. There is nothing that is missing. Allah says, مَا فَرَّطْنَا فِي الْكِتَابِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. We do not miss a single thing. And subhanAllah, including our sitting and the way we sit, in details Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written everything. Nothing is missing from that which is written by the pen. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَعِنْدَهُ مَفَاتِحُ الْغَيْبِ لَا يَعْلَمُهَا إِلَّا هُوَ وَيَعْلَمُ مَا فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ. The keys to the unseens belongs to Allah. وَيَعْلَمُ مَا فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ. He knows that which is in the sea and He knows that which is on the land. وَمَا تَسْقُطُ مِنْ وَرَقَةٍ إِلَّا يَعْلَمُهَا. There is no leaf of the tree that will fall down except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows it. We have either the ghaib or the shahada. Allah knows the ghaib, the unseen, and knows that which is apparent to us. And there is either the sea or the land. Allah knows what is in the sea and He knows what is on the land and know what is in between both of them. He says, وَمَا تَسْقُطُ مِنْ وَرَقَةٍ. There is no leaf that is going to fall from the tree except that Allah knows when is it going to fall, how is it going to fall. where is it going to go? And why is it going to go? Every single detail about that one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا حَبَّةٍ فِي ظُلُمَاتِ الْأَرْضِ. And if you go to the dungeons of the earth, you go down there, and you dig a hole and you put a seed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows it. The scholar said, forget about this example, just assume a situation whereby you take the seed, you go to the lowest part of the ocean with the seed, and you put it there, you dig a hole, you put it inside there. How many darkness are on top of this? The darkness of the sea itself. The more you go down, the darker it is. The darkness of the sea, one on top of the other, and then we come to the darkness of the water itself. The darkness of the bubbles on top of the sea, one on top of the other. The darkness of the night, and let's say this is a cloudy day, it rains, the darkness of the clouds, the darkness of the light, the darkness of the rain itself. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says He sees that thing that you put underneath, just like it is in front of you. To teach you and I that there is no way to hide from the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why Allah says, وَلَا رَطْبٍ وَلَا يَبْسٍ إِلَّا فِي كِتَابٍ مُبِينٍ. There is nothing dry or wet except that it is written in the Kitab al-Mubin. This is Lawh al-Mahfuz. So that's the second pillar of Qadr, to believe in the Kitab. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written everything. So He knows and He has written the knowledge. Transfer the knowledge through the pen or whatever subhanahu wa ta'ala used to write. The next one is the will. This is the Mashia. Mashia or Irada. And the scholars divided into two. Irada Kawniya, Irada Kawniya Qadriya, and Irada Shar'iyya. Irada Kawniya, and you have Irada Shar'iyya. Okay, Irada is the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for something to take place. So you have Kawniya and you have Shar'iyya. Kawniya means the Irada, the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is related to things which must happen, but it is not necessarily that thing should be something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows. Do you get it? Something that Allah decreed to happen, and it must happen. There is no way for it not to take place. But it might be something that Allah loves, and it might be something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't like. Do you get it? Muslims fought each other long ago. When Allah talks about the children of Israel, there are wars that happens between them. Allah doesn't like to see human beings fight. Especially when it comes to the Muslims alongside. Allah doesn't like to see them fighting each other. Unity has to be maintained, but it does happen. Allah says, وَلَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ مَقْتَتَلَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ بَعْدِهِمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَتْهُمُ الْبَيِّنَاتُ وَلَكِنْ اخْتَلَفُوا فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ آمَنَ وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ كَفَرَ. Allah says, وَلَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ مَقْتَتَلُوا وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ مَا يَفْعَلُ مَا يُرِيدُ. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wish, they will never fight. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the doer of that which He wishes. That's what we call Qadr. Something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed to take place, and it has to happen in the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted, but it is not. It might be something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't like. Death. Which one is it? Qadr or Shari? Kawni or Shari? It's Kawni. Something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed for everyone. Everyone will die. Is there any specific time for us to die? Yes, there is. Can you exceed that one? No, you can't. And the death of a good ones amongst the believers, does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like it? Yes, He invited you. But if you don't want to at that moment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says He doesn't want to displease you, but He already written this. He has already written it, but He doesn't want to displease the believer when he doesn't want to die at that moment. That's why this type of qadr cannot be changed according to the best opinion of the scholars. When the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written it, it will never be changed. Some scholars said no, it might be changed. Especially when it comes to the ajal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala might change. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَمْحُ اللَّهُ مَا يَشَاءُ وَيُثْبِتُ وَعِنْدَهُ أُمُّ الْكِتَابِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deletes and erases whatever He wishes, and He keeps whatever He wishes. The mother of the book is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's the Lawh al-Mahfuz. So when He says He can erase whatever, does that mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala erase it? Oh, this is something that happens long ago, not that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to make it now. Those scholars who said it can happen now, they said it happened actually. And we have the Sunnah also to support it. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Man arada an yubsata lahu fi umrihi, أن يبسط له في رزقه وينسأ له في عمره whoever wants Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give him extension in the rizq, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase his rizq, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also to expand his age. Okay, you're going to live 100 years, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can make it 150. Whoever wants Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to expand your age, to increase your age, and to also expand your rizq, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, فَلْتَصِلْ رَحِمَكَ. You should try and do the silatul rahim. What is silatul rahim? Be good to the relatives. Be kind to them. What's that?
It's going to take over. If you want to sit down.
Yes. So he says, whoever wants Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase him in rizq, and whoever wants Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to expand his age, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase your age, you should do the silatul rahim. Meaning to be kind to your parent, to be kind to your relatives, to be very good to those people who are related and connected to you. If you look at it literally, it means that the age and the rizq could be increased. If you look at the hadith of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, the one that I quoted some part of it, the Prophet ﷺ said, an angel will come to the womb and write what? The rizq. It means how much you're going to earn in this life. And he will write you ajal. When are you supposed to die? And at the end of the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, رُفِعَتِ الْأَقْلَامُ وَجَفَّتِ الصُّحُفِ. The pens that wrote this, they have already been removed from the papers. And the papers have become dry. In a way, they will not be erased. It means there will be no change in this decision. But here the Prophet ﷺ said, if you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase your age and to give you some extension in the rizq, he said, be good in terms of silatul rahim. So some scholars said this shows that a person might be given an age, but then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it more because of this righteous deed. They said also we have a practical evidence to support this. When Adam alayhi salam saw his son Dawood alayhi salam, and he said to Allah, how old is Dawood? Allah said, Dawood will live for 60 years. He said, how about me? Allah says, you will live for 1,000 years. Adam said, 1,000? They told him 1,000 years. How about this one, my son? Only 60 years. He said, this is so little. Unless take 40 years from my age and give it to Dawood. Unless he can have how much? 100 years. Okay, after 960 years, right? Okay, the angel of death went to Adam to tell him that your time is up. When angels tell him, Ajib da'wat rabbika, your time is over. He says, no, Allah told, he remembered the first one, he did not remember his gift. He says, Allah told me that I'm going to live for 1,000 years. They said, yeah, but you gave your son Dawood 40 years. Adam says, which Dawood? When did I even see Dawood? He says, I don't know this. When did I give Allah? To what I know is that Allah gave me 1,000 years and I did not finish yet. 40 years left. The Prophet ﷺ said, فَجَحِدَ آدَمْ وَجَحِدَ ذُرِّيَّتُهُ. He says, فَنَسِيَ آدَمْ وَنَسِيَ ذُرِّيَّتُهُ. Adam forgot, and that's why the children of Adam also become like this. They forget easily. وَجَحِدَ آدَمْ وَجَحِدَ ذُرِّيَّتُهُ. Adam argues and replied back, although he knows that, he forgot. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says out of forgetfulness, but that's why his descendants also becomes like that. Sometimes you will see a person arguing about something that he knows is wrong, but still denying. So Adam denies, and that's why his descendants also are like that. In this hadith, the age of Dawood, did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase it physically? Yes. The age of Adam reduced. Do you get the idea? So this is the reason why those scholars said it could be changed. But other scholars said no. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never change it and it will never be changed. So what happened? And this is the best opinion of Allah. Qadr, when it is written, it will never be changed. The Kawni, it has to happen in the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wrote it. But what happened was, 50,000 years before the creation of the universe, 2 Qadr have been written for some of us. So the first time when the pen writes, it writes that Kareem, min al-nas. One of these people named Kareem, he is going to live for 100 years. But due to the fact that this person is going to be very dedicated in his, deeds and activities, and he's going to be very kind to the parents and the relatives, the age has been increased to 120 years. These two Qadr, when were they written? The same time. The first and the second. Which one will take place? The second one. The first one will not take place. Just right in there. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wrote two things at the first time because of the knowledge of Allah that this person is going to be like this. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wrote the second one. So the second one will take place. And this is also how you should interpret the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which says, لا يرد القدر إلا الدعاء. There is nothing that can have the power to stop the qadr from taking place except the dua. And the scholars said this is already known to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and both of them have been written. Because of your dua, Allah diverts the first qadr to the second one. And the second one will take place, not the first one. So what should I do? Should I just say, okay, if this is the case, then maybe the second one has been written? No. That means I'm choosing the first one. If I did not do the Silat al-Rahim, I choose the first qadr. That's why the scholar said, I am not supposed to check about the qadr which is written for me by Allah because there is no way for me to know that. How can I know that this is the qadr of Allah? How? When it happened. That's why somebody came to Umar radiallahu anhu. He was brought to Umar, he stole something. In Islam, when somebody steals something from others, what is the punishment? Cut off his hand, right? So they brought him to cut off his hand. The man says, come on, how can you cut off my hand for doing something which is written for me by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? SubhanAllah, he forgot he's dealing with Umar radiallahu anhu. He said, how can you cut off my hand for doing something which is already written to me by Allah? Umar radiallahu anhu, did he say this is wrong understanding? He did not. Allah knows that he is going to choose to steal and his hand will be cut off. So he wrote that. So the man was right. It is written. So Umar told him, yes, you are right. We also were going to cut off your hand because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written that in there. Do you get the idea? That's why the scholars, this is also an important lesson you should know. The scholars said, using the qadr to justify one's activity is wrong. Okay? Adam alayhi salam met who? Musa alayhi salam. Musa met Adam. When he met Adam in the heavens, right? And he talked to Adam. There's the Prophet also narrating the conversation between them. So he said, Ya Adam, anta abul bashar. You are the one who is created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with his own hand. And you are the source of human beings. You are the father of everyone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created you by his hand. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put you in Jannah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did this. But still, you couldn't appreciate this until the time you went and eat from the tree and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chases out of Jannah and now we are suffering because of you. What is this? Adam was listening. When Musa told him this, he said, Ya Musa, you blame me for doing something which is written to me 50,000 years before I was even created. The Prophet ﷺ said, Adam defeated Musa. Musa couldn't talk after that. Does that mean this is also okay for somebody who committed sin and used qadr to justify what he did? No. The scholar said if you look at the conversation, Musa was not even blaming Adam for that. Get it? They said also, what we understand from that is that using qadr to justify what happened is okay after the repentance. Because Adam, right after the commission of the sin, what did he do? He repented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when repentance happens, what happened to the sin? Gone completely. Can I blame somebody who repented and become a righteous person? No. That's why they said, even in the da'wah process, when a person comes to you and he regrets for committing something that is wrong, you have no way for you to, there is no way for you to talk about the punishment. In this case, you have to remind him about the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and cool him down. Because he already regretted. You talk about the punishment and you warn a person when you are dealing with somebody who refused to stop committing the crime. But Adam, right after the sin, he repented and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَتَابَ عَلَيْهِ. He forgave that. But then Musa comes after how many years? Thousands of years. And he was telling him, you did this, you did that. That's why Adam used the Qadr to stop Musa from talking. The Prophet ﷺ said, Adam won the debate. Musa lost it. So the scholars said, we learn from this that a person can use Qadr when somebody blamed him for doing something that he did wrong after the repentance. So this is the irada kawniya, something that you have no control. Allah SWT controls it. Like our age, our life, our risk. Risk also, you don't have control over it. My job and your job is to look for it. And I will talk a bit, inshallah, and I will quickly stop the speech. I told you I'm going to spend 30 minutes, I don't know what happened. Anyway. Risk is part of the Qadr. Which Qadr? Kawni or Shari is Kawni. Something that we cannot modify, we cannot change. Can I increase my risk? Can I decrease my risk by my effort? No. Allah SWT decided, and wallahi, my brothers and sisters, only Allah SWT can take action, can increase it or decrease it. I wish you guys are listening. Even if you are sleeping, I wish you wake up and listen to this. The risk that you are getting in this life has been decreed by Allah SWT before you come to this earth. And wallahi, wallahi, see, I add another one. Wallahi, there is no way for you to get that which is not written. And there is no way for you to miss that which has been written. It has to come. If I believe in this alone, I will relax. I will relax. Jibreel came all the way from Allah SWT to Rasulullah. Listen to this, my brothers and sisters. To tell him this fact, that nobody will leave this life before he accomplished that which Allah SWT has written for him precisely. If Allah said, you're going to get 1 trillion dinar Kuwaiti, not dollars, dinar Kuwaiti, before you die, you have to get that before you die. You will never leave this life before you get it. And it has to come. Wallahi, it will come. And if Allah SWT says you will not get a single cent, that cent will never come to you. No matter how much you try your best, it will never come. So if I understand this concept, what does that mean? I should relax. Jibreel told Rasulullah, he says, nobody will die before he get that which Allah SWT has written for him. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَأَجْمِلُوا فِي الطَّلَبِ. He said, fear Allah and make sure that you are getting the rizq from the right sources. He says, fear Allah and make sure that you are getting the rizq from the right sources. The one who takes riba, interest, the one who bribes, the one who steals, the one who robs, the one who cheated and get money from the haram way, the one who gamble and get the money from the haram, all of these prohibited means of earning rizq, they are doing it because this iman is missing. Because if he agrees that there is always a better way for him to get it, and the way he will not be in trouble with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will relax and make sure that the way he get it is the halal way. So not believing in the Qadr in this regard is one of the main causes of what? Getting money through the haram means. Because if I understand that I'm going to get it because it is written for me, why do I get it from the wrong way? The Arabs, the old one, I don't know what the current one, they lost the language actually. They said, لو صبر القاتل لمات المقتول. Do you get that? They said, لو صبر القاتل لمات المقتول. If the murderer is patient, the murdered person is going to die exactly the time he killed him. So you take your knife and get somebody, and he died exactly at, you didn't have a clock here, you died exactly at 11. What does that mean? It has been written for this person to die at what time? 11. So the Arab says this guy was not patient. He was supposed just to be patient and wait for 11 to come. The man will die by himself. But now he took the knife and got him. But now the authority, they get him, they send them all together. They said he was supposed to be patient. The same thing I'm telling you, I will tell you about the risk. Wallahi, it's all about patience. And that's the reason why the Prophet ﷺ said, do not look for it from the haram means. He said, just exercise patience. And he said, do not be deceived by the delay of the risk, because sometimes it might delay it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is doing that for wisdom. You might not know that. I told some of you there was a time we get involved in this jam'iyah. You know jam'iyah, right? Not organization or a party. This jam'iyah is a group of people, they agree to have this kind of insurance. It means every month I give some part of my salary. You also give. This month this person will take, the next month this person will take, until it comes back to you. You know, I get involved in one of them one day, and you know I like to be the last one, and always the last one is in trouble. So people don't want to give me my money, and they took my money. You know, I was like, should I curse them? Every time I ask the one who is getting the money from them, he will tell me, well, be patient, they don't want to give. I reached the moment where I just kept quiet, because I never delayed. When it is their time, I give them. But when it comes to my time, they think they're going to give me free. Nobody is willing to give. So I was so sad about that. I just did it. You know, you can reach a situation whereby you don't even want it. Let them go and take it. But subhanAllah, I reached a time whereby I don't know how much difficulty I'm going to be in if I don't get that money on that day. I get into the working place, the brother came to me with the money. He says, Ibrahim, this is your money. Alhamdulillah, it came now. Wallahi. Yesterday it was a tragedy. I was like, should I curse him? But today I was telling him, thank you very much, Wallahi. Jazakallah khairan. And tell them, extend my shukr to them, you know. Because if he gave me long ago, I could have used it. But how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for wisdom, He kept it. Although I don't want it, but Allah kept it. It is my right, but He kept it up to the moment which I am in a desperate need of it. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let it come. Wallahi, my brothers and sisters, listen to me. There is no coincidence in the actions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all. Whatever He does is planned by Him. And nothing is done by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which is intended to harm you. So when it comes to the risk, the Prophet ﷺ said, be patient, it will come. Imam Shafi'i said, إِذَا ضَاقَ رِزْقُ الْيَوْمِ فَاصْبِرْ إِلَى غَدٍ عَسَى نَكَبَةُ الدَّهْرِ عَنْكَ تَزُولُ. He said, when you try today, but it doesn't work, he said, be patient. Inshallah, tomorrow it will work. Today you try your best, you don't get anything, be patient. Tomorrow, in the light of Allah, you might get it. So my brothers and sisters, let us relax. You have so many people who went into what you call disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because of the risk. I'm willing to sacrifice my religion to keep my position. Do we have people like that? A lot. People selling their religion because they want to keep their position. You have people giving wrong fatwa because of what? Risk. You have people doing whatever they do because of what? Risk. But if I do understand what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the risk is decided by who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He does that in the heavens. So that's why, my brothers and sisters, leave the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just make your effort to earn your risk, but you should have in your mind that this is in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the one who has the final decision. That will help you, bi'iznillahi ta'ala, to stay upright. Not to go against the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in trying to earn the risk. Last things about this qadr kawni. You know, we have in our life situations whereby we are depressed, we are annoyed by things. Especially this time around, these psychological problems is a lot. Depression is a lot in the life of people. And to be honest with you, the reason why we're depressed, believe it or not, is because we create a distance between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallahi, there is no way for you to be at ease unless if you bring back that life with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No way for you to be in a state of controversy, disagreement with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who created you, and also at the same time your heart is at ease. It will never happen. So understand this properly. That's the first thing. The second cause for that is lack of a proper belief in the qadr. Because if you believe in the qadr properly, you will relax in this life. And Mutanabbi says, and please memorize this one. He says, دع المقادير تجري في عينتها ولا تبيتن إلا خالي البال ما بين غمضة عين وانتباهتها يغير الله من حال إلى حال. He said, let the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pass in the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed it. Our problem, my brothers and sisters, is we try to interfere the qadr. we try to interfere. And I always say that Qadr is just like a huge mountains on top of you, huge mountain on top of you that is going to fall down on you, and somebody is going to blame you for not stopping it from falling down. You imagine it's a mountain as big as this university on top of you, and it fell down, and somebody tells you, what's wrong with you, why don't you stop it? What can you do? A poet says, وَلَوْ كَانَ سَهْمًا وَاحِدًا لَاتَّقَيْتُهُ وَلَكِنَّهُ سَهْمٌ وَثَانٍ وَثَالِثُ. He said, if it is only one arrow, I can stop it, but arrows are coming from everywhere. What should I do? This is Qadr, and our problem is we try to interfere to stop it. You know, wallahi, it's a joke. That's why Mutanabbi says, let the Qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pass in the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribe it. He says, وَلَا تَبِيتَنَّ إِلَّا خَالِيَ الْبَالِ. I want a job, I lost the interview. My life turned upside down. This is the situation we find, right? Nowadays, also funny. And this job, you can say maybe there is no more job, right? A sister wants to marry a brother. She proposed to him and the brother said no. Her life turned upside down. They have psychological problem because of that. A brother wants a sister, she rejected him. His life turned upside down. As if there is nobody in existence except those ones. Wallahi, I'm telling you, this is nothing except lack of belief in the Qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You waste your time, and you know why do I say you're wasting your time? Because your sadness, your depression will never cause Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and force Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to change His decree. It remains in the way it is. So you're losing the sight of Allah, and at the same time also you don't bring what you want. That's why Mutanabbi says, let the Qadr pass in the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribe it, and do not go to the house to sleep except Khali al-Bali. Khali al-Bali means empty-minded. Your heart is free from anything. You don't worry about anything. It says, and do believe, مَا بَيْنَ غَمْضَةِ عَيْنٍ وَانْتِبَاحَتِهَا يُغَيِّرُ اللَّهُ مِنْ حَالٍ إِلَى حَالٍ. Within the blink of an eye, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changes the situation. Is that true? This is fact. Who told you that this situation will not be changed? Within the blink of an eye, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changes the situation. What Allah wants you to do is to have the complete belief and faith in the Qadr, to accept it, to agree, and to look for a way out. Allah doesn't say just accept the Qadr and then remain in it. No, it happens, this is tragedy, this is something that you don't like, look for a way out. But do not try and interfere and be depressed. Sometimes we lost the loved ones, right? We became in a state of depression. Sometimes we curse ourselves. Sometimes we do something that will cause us problem in our life. That person is gone. Can you bring him back? No. At the same time, you put trouble to yourself that you're going to remain in it. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, when somebody dies, angels are going to reach that house. What is their job? Just to listen to your statement. You're the living ones. So if you say, yeah, I'm definitely into trouble, and my life is going to be miserable, the angel will say, Ameen. Whatever you say, they're going to say Ameen. Ameen means, may Allah accept. That's why sometimes I'm telling you, after the event of the death, you're going to be in trouble because that was the thing you asked for yourself. And the angel said, Ameen. But you lost somebody. You cry because of that. You know, this is Islam. You cry, no problem. Rasulullah cried when his son died. You also cry because of that. But do not say anything except that which pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why Rasulullah said, nobody is allowed to go into the state of ihdad. I mean, that kind of ascetic life when somebody lost his loved ones. You know, you don't like to eat good food, you don't like to dress well, you don't like to mix with the people that much. The Prophet ﷺ said, as a family member, you have only 3 days to be in that situation. After that, you have to go and carry on your normal life. Because death is part of our nature. If you say you're going to keep on being sad, until when? You know, you're going to keep on being depressed, you jeopardize all of your responsibilities, and this sadness cannot continue. There has to be a time where you explode, you know, you stop being sad. And then you come back to your normal life, you find a lot of things that you neglected before. And now the real sadness is going to take place and depression. So the Prophet ﷺ said, as a family member, you have 3 days only to go back to normal life. As a wife, the Prophet ﷺ said she has 4 months, 10 days, according to what Allah mentioned. And she also did something else, not because, I mean, she is related to that husband. So I want you, my brothers and sisters, to understand this concept properly. Allah, it gives you relief. Somebody said, since I understand this, my life becomes so simple, so easy. Somebody once told me, okay, Ibrahim, did you ever get angry in your life? I was like, ask my children, they're here. Also, every day I got angry with them. As one, I was almost going to smack him. But, what helps me is I try to restrict my anger to the face. It doesn't go inside. Okay? That's what I try to do, based on the understanding of the Qadr, not to let my anger get inside. And the face shout, change your face, but it doesn't go here. Do you get the idea? Because once you let the anger get into your heart, I'm telling you, you will never live a good life. Imam Shafi says, لما عفوت ولم أحقد على أحد أرحت نفسي من هم العداوات. He said, when I realized that this life is very simple, take life easy, I forgive everyone. Whoever does something wrong, I just forgive. I might take action, but I forgive. He said, I forgive. He said, that helps me to relieve myself from the worry of enmity. A person can become old because of what? Clashes with the people. I'm telling you, there is no life that is good and more excellent than the life of forgiveness. Somebody does something to you, forgive. And if you do that, people also are going to do the same thing to you. I have one example to give you. I will not mention the person because you will know. Okay? I want you to laugh. Okay? Somebody hit me in the car. How many times? I don't know. I never hold any one of them accountable. Sometimes it's badly. I don't have a time. There was a time I was just going to park my car next to my office. I use the indicator, from far distance, so that it will be enough for this person who sleeps behind me to know that I'm going to this way. Wallah, I just turned the car. I said, the man get me. One of the students in the university. Okay. I came out. I see that there is nothing that much in my car but his car. He was, sorry. I said, no problem. Just go. There was a time I was going to go to the roundabout. I don't know what happened. I was with the kids. I hit somebody. I will not tell you who is this person. But these are the kind of the people that don't forgive. They are known to the people they don't forgive at all. When I hit them, I just hear that, yes, I came out. I bring the card, my card, the university card, I give them. I said, please go to the mechanic, check and see how much you can fix this, and then call me back. I will come and see wherever you are, inshallah. They never called. When I told one of my friends, he said, definitely you're willing. These people forgive you. But to me, I don't relate it to wilaya or something, but I just related Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deal with you in the way you deal with others. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, you should always deal with people in the way you want them to deal with you. You forgive, you are going to have people also forgiving you when you are wrong in certain situations. So my brothers and sisters, this is the most important part of my lecture about the Qadr. Relax in this life. Understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there and everything is decreed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and don't worry at all in this life. I will give you a gift and I will conclude with it. This is the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that says, "Man ja'ala al-humuma hamman wahidan kafahu Allahu ma ahammahu min umur dunya." Whoever makes his worry in this life, how many worries you have in this life? Thousands of them. He says, if you can make your worries in this life only one worry. He said, if you can make your life as a life of somebody who has no worry in this life at all except one, which is the worry of how to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah promised you to take care of all of your worries in this life. SubhanAllah. Very simple way for you to earn the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to deal with your worries. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to take care of your worry, you will never be in trouble. So this is Mashia Kawniyya. Mashia Shari'iyya is something that I'm almost there. Okay. Only 2 hours left. Mashia Shari'iyya is opposite of that one. Something that is decreed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but it might happen, it might not happen, but it has to be something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves. Allah says, Wallahu yuridu an yatuba alaykum. Allah wants, you see, He uses the word irada. Allah wants to forgive you. But repentance is necessary, but you might not find a person repenting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is that clear? So this is Mashiach Shari'iyah. The first one is Mashiach Kawniyah. The last pillar is the khalq, the creation, which means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He put that knowledge and that writing into action, which is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created every single thing that we see in this life and those who we don't see. So these are the pillars of the Qadr, and due to the time, I will just emphasize on that which I had just mentioned a few seconds ago, about you relaxing in this life and know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't have anything that is called coincidence. He knows what exactly is going on here, and depend on Him in everything and relieve yourself from all of the worries. Get it? Depend on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever happens to you in your life, knows that this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had decreed, and the only solution for that is to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I will stop here. I intended to talk more than this, but looking at the time, I don't think I should go more than that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you good. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala love you all. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive whatever I said which is wrong, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept whatever we said which is right. So now is the time to have any questions, if you do have questions. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala love you. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Do the sisters have any questions they would like to ask? The mic is in the front row.
MashaAllah. It's too cold.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalam.
I have a question. So why would Allah create kuffar just to put them in nar? You know?
He did not create kuffar.
Sleep deprived.
No, He did not create kuffar at all.
I mean, if everything is written.
That's what I said. Allah created human beings, and He grants them ability to choose what they want to do. You know, whoever goes to hell, this is his absolute choice. This is what he chose. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want anyone to go to hell. That's the reason why, you know, He did not leave you with your own consciousness and your aql. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at the same time, He sent you what? Not less than 124,000 prophets and messengers to remind you about what you're supposed to be doing so that you can avoid hell. Why is that? Because not everyone knows how to choose properly. There are some people who need somebody to guide them on how to make a choice. And that's the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let you not dependent on your own consciousness, but you should take the guidance also from those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala entrusted. So that's what I meant when I said what is written in the Lawh al-Mahfuz is the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about our choices. Okay, I really want you to go out with this to understand it properly. What is written by Allah in the Lawh al-Mahfuz is the knowledge about our own choices. What exactly each and every one of us is going to choose. So that means nobody can say why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this person in order to put him in hell. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not do that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create a person in order to show mercy upon him, but that person doesn't want. That's the reason why Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, every single person in my ummah will be going to paradise except somebody who doesn't want to go to paradise. They said, Ya Rasulullah, who is that person who will not like to go to paradise? He said, whoever doesn't want to follow Rasulullah, whoever does not obey me, he chose to go to hell. He doesn't like the paradise. So that's how I look at it. Allah doesn't create a person just to put him in hell. No, it doesn't go like that. But He creates you and grants you a choice. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does that because He is fa'alun lima yurid. Nobody can say, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created people, He doesn't create them like the angels. No, we don't ask this question, because if we're the one who will decide and choose for Him what He does, then He is not Allah anymore. That's why somebody said, if Allah is the most powerful, then He should kill me now. I give Him 10 minutes. You know. So He kept on going around making tawaf to that Muslim, you know, around that Muslim. Every single second He will look at him and say, you see, your Lord doesn't do that. Until now, I'm giving him chance. 10 minutes passed and nothing happened. So the Muslim looked at him. After the 10 minutes finished, the guy told him, you see, you said there is Allah. If He does exist, why can't He accept my challenge? The Muslim said, actually, I'm also waiting to see, would you die in 10 minutes or not? Because he said, if you die, definitely in 10 minutes, I will stop worshiping him, I will worship you. Because you are the one who is instructing him to do what you want him to do. But he says, my Lord is the most powerful. He decreed everything. There is a time for something to happen. Your time to die is not now. So your instruction, your challenge, your whatever will never make him change his decision. That's what makes my belief actually more firm. That he does exist and he's the most powerful because he doesn't follow you. So the same goes to the one who might say, why Allah created human beings in the way they are? Why can't he make them like the angels? We say Allah says in the Quran, huwa fa'alun lima yurid. He does whatever he wishes. Next.
Do the brothers have any questions?
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Thank you for the insightful talk. Now, I'd like to ask, I'd like to explain a scenario and take your point of view on it. Let's try and take right now a young boy that's just graduated from high school, and he's faced with two decisions. He's either going to continue his education, or he decides to go to the military now. Now, let's say the boy decides to go to the military, and he undergoes training, excels, succeeds, and then becomes a soldier. And now he is requested to go to the front lines of battle. Now once he goes to the front lines of battle, say a year or two, he meets his fate and he dies on battle. Now my question is that if
he does what before death?
He goes to battle, he goes to the front lines of battle, and he gets killed on the front lines. Now let's say he decided to take the other path, which was to continue his higher education. And years down the line, was he or would he have died at the same time that he died in the battlefront?
Definitely. Actually, that's based on human assumptions. You know, what we can propose and what we can think. But if you look at the whole concept of Qadr, that which he has chosen at first, he will never miss that choice. No matter how much you try to convince him to go for education, he will never go for that. He'll always choose that one because it is written by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that this will be his choice. And Allah knows that he will never change his mind. That's why it is written in the Mahfuz. But we as human beings, we can propose anything. That let's say if you choose this, would that happen? If I look at the Qadr itself and the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed it, I know that this person will never choose otherwise. He will choose that one. There will be no way for you to convince him to choose the other way around. And if he chooses the other way around, for sure, I believe he is going to come back to that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written for him. It's just like the story of that person whom we are told, okay, I did not meet the person, but they mentioned that a person who died, he fell from the high buildings, you know. He reached the ground peacefully. There was no injury, no anything on him. So he decided to celebrate this moment because people have been happy, according to the narration of the story. People are so happy, you know, that he was saved. He said, I'm going to feed you. Let me go and buy some drinks for you. He rushed to the shop to buy some drinks. While rushing, a speeding car came and got him. Look at how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not let him die from that. People expected him to die. But Allah did not want him to do that because this is not the place that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written for him to die. He came down peacefully with no injuries, no wounds, no anything, so that he can quickly move to that place which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed for him. These are all translation of the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that if Allah say this is going to happen in this way, it is going to happen in that way. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam during the battle of Badr, he was showing the companions, this is the place where this person will die, this is the place where this person will die. And that companion says, Wallahi, none of them missed that position which is mentioned by the Prophet ﷺ. I might say, what if he doesn't even come? Then whoever knows the Qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will tell you that he will never make a decision not to come. That's why one of them has been trying to escape that battle, but his people convinced him to come. He came. He doesn't want to come because somebody told him that I heard that Rasulullah is going to kill you. He said, this man never lied. You know, so he has that in his mind, but they managed to convince him to go, and he died in that place because this has been decreed. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that. So what I'm trying to say is, we can propose, you know, whatever we think we can propose any. If this happened, what will happen? If this happened, what will happen? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that it will never happen. But human nature, we can say, what if he chose this? What will happen to him? I will say to you, knowing the Qadr and what the Qadr means, that choice, the second proposal we're having, will never take place at all. If I see him going to that one, that's me. It is not written for him to go. And he might not die at the time he died at the battlefield, because it is not written for him to die at that moment. Do you get the idea? Otherwise, even if he goes to that one, he's going to make a U-turn and come back to the military, and he will be participating in that which we see him doing, and he will die at that place.
Like, can you also insinuate that you can't decide when you will die, but you have the option of deciding how you will die?
No, you don't have. That's why my sister says she will never use a car, because all the stories of a car that comes to her is tragedy, accident, and all this. She was in the house, a speeding car comes and hit that part of the house where she gets in. She died because of that. Her choice is not to die because of a car, she dies because of that. Nobody can choose the way he wants to die. The suicide, a person, somebody who commits suicide, that was his choice, to choose the way he wants to die, to take off his life. Some of them might die, some of them might be rescued by the doctors, because the time is not yet. But whoever dies and make that choice and take off his life in that way, he did not choose it, but he chose himself, but Allah's already written that this person is going to kill himself. And because Islamically this is wrong for a person to kill himself, that's why hell is confirmed for him. Somebody took a knife and cut off his hand because he was injured. He wants to remove the sickness completely. So he wasn't patient. He cut off the hand completely. The Prophet ﷺ said, فَمَا رَقَعَ الدَّمُ حَتَّى مَاتَ فَقَالَ اللَّهُ بَادَرَنِي عَبْدِي بِنَفْسِهِ فَقَدْ حَرَّمْتَ عَلَيْهِ الْجَنَّةِ. He said, my slave is hastening. He wasn't patient. And I make paradise prohibited upon him. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever takes a knife and kills himself with it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will let him go with the knife in hell, and he will be punishing himself with the knife forever and ever and ever. There will be no end to that punishment. That's why suicide in Islam is haram. For somebody to choose the way he wants to kill himself, to take off his life. He just wants to go like that. But to say that a person can choose how he wants to die, this one is impossible. Islamically, it's haram for me to kill myself. And it's haram for me to be the cause. And it's haram not for me, actually, for the family members, because of my illness, to choose for me to die. That's haram. That's why what do you call that? Euthanasia? Something like that. Mercy killing. It doesn't exist in Islam. It doesn't exist. We try our best to rescue that person, but we cannot take off his life. And subhanAllah, recently I was reading and I saw the boy with a lot of patches on his head. I don't know how many surgeries he had conducted. They said the medical doctors in the news, they said the family, the parent, they just signed an agreement with the doctors to inject him just to take off his life. And subhanAllah, he recovered after that. I don't know if this boy understood that the parent decided to kill him. How is he going to understand them in the future, That's why euthanasia is haram Islamically. You can't interfere. You let Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do whatever he wants. Do you get Sheikh? So there is no way for a person to choose the way he wants to die. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already decided. This is Qadr Kawni. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, مَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ بِأَيِّ أَرْضٍ تَمُوتُ. Nobody knows where exactly is he going to die. You have people dying in Malaysia, right? Who came from overseas, right? Why do they die here? They never knew they would die here. You have people die in other countries, They never knew that they were going to die. If they know, they might not go. They want to die in their own place, But they die because this is the place where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written for them, and they cannot escape that place. Is that clear? Inshallah. May Allah grant us good and a clear understanding.
I believe the sisters had a question.
In your speech, you mentioned the hadith of Rasul Nasiya Adam Nasiyat Ummatat. So that hadith reminds us of the concept of original sin or ancestral sin in Christianity, that man has been in the state of sin ever since the fall of Adam and Eve from paradise. So do we as Muslims also believe in original sin? Because that hadith insinuates that we do.
It doesn't at all. Okay, that's a good question. Because in Islam, you get the nusus, you can't take one text. I can just restrict myself to the text itself, also I can answer the question. But in Islam, we have this concept. You take the nusus and put them all together. Then you can use them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "La tazir waziratun wizra ukhra." Nobody is going to carry the burdens of another person. The problem of my father, it is not going to be transferred to me at all. That's his problem, and he will be responsible. This is the meaning of the ayah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in this sharia of ours, whatsoever you do, if you repent, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will close the page. That's what we have learned from the sharia. If you repent, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will close the page. When he forgives, he forgives. You are not going to be responsible of it after the repentance and the forgiveness of Allah, and for sure somebody else is not going to be responsible of it. If you are the one who committed the sin, will not be responsible of it, for sure somebody else is not going to be responsible of it. And Adam alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive his sin. Right after it happens, when he repented, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَتَابَ عَلَيْهِ وَهَدَى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive his sin. That's why there is nothing, neither in the books, the previous book, that shows that somebody is carrying. This has never been the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whereby I do something, but somebody is going to carry my burdens and my responsibilities. But Musa is saying to Adam, because of you, he doesn't say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is holding us accountable, but Allah brought Adam down there. And naturally, Adam is human being. He's going to do what? Reproduce. His children take place here. Musa was telling him that we're supposed to be in that place, but you are the one who brought us here, and you can see the life on earth, how it is. You couldn't be patient, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punish you, and brought you here, and your children come here. Not as a punishment. We are not punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of the sin of Adam at all. But since Adam has his own nature, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed that they're going to continue growing, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought it here on earth, and the growth of humankind and the continuation happens on earth, and we have to go through the system. This is what Musa was referring to, blame that your impatience caused you to lose that position, and as such we also happen to be born in that place, and we are suffering. Not because Musa is trying to tell him that because of your sin Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is punishing us. That concept means that we are cursed, or we are in trouble, and that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had to kill his beloved son according to them, for us to get out of that trouble, which I don't know where exactly they get it, because the Injil that Isa alayhi salatu wasalam brought, that concept that does not exist at all. So that's what I meant. In Islam, you take the nusus, you put them all together, then you come up with the correct approach and the correct system. Tawbah, when it happens, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives, the sin is going to be closed, and the page is going to be closed. That person who committed the sin is not going to be held accountable of it, and for sure, his descendants and whoever is connected to him will never be responsible of it. Get it? So when we have this, then that assumptions will be gone, inshallah. Thank you very much.
The question over here asks, just to clarify, are the two qadrs written in the Lawh al-Mahfuz?
Yes, everything is written. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, مَا فَرَّطْنَا فِي الْكِتَابِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. We did not neglect anything. So Allah knows what will happen. He wrote the Qadr Kawni and the Qadr Shari. There is nothing which takes place without knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
How do we counter people who say that Allah decreed some people to be born having attraction to the same gender?
No, we have to wake them up. We have the natural attraction, which is towards the opposite gender. But you have also disease. Somebody gets attracted to the same gender. It's not like that. Allah doesn't make people like this. That was his choice. And it might have the impact of the environment, the place where he was. Get it? Okay. That's why dressing properly is good, is excellent, Islamic, and also according to the what do you call? Our nature is the only thing that should be done. Sisters to dress properly, and the brothers also dressing properly. Sometimes because of not dressing properly, you have brothers getting attracted to the brothers, and sisters also like that. Because you have some people who have the disease, that disease, So when you give them chance to do that, it will come. Okay? And this also should take place even at home, right? The sister sits in front of her brothers and her siblings in the way she wants. And some relatives also like that. And then tomorrow you will see in the newspaper something is taking place in the house. Why can it take place? Because we don't live in the way we should do. Ibn Taymiyyah says, in those days in the past, sisters usually when they stay in the presence of those ones, the brothers and siblings, because they are also human beings. And the time we're living in is so contaminated and corrupt, So he said they used to live like what? They dress, although they don't cover the head at home, but they wear something that is, long enough to cover from the shoulder until the knees. Other than that, doesn't come out. But our life nowadays is not like that. You hear a lot of cases. So you open the door for that desire which shouldn't be present to become present. And shaitan knows how to play. That's why this incest that we read, wallahi, there was a time, almost every day you read in the newspaper, you find this case. I was in the classroom, and there was a police with us also. The lecturer asked him, because we kept on reading the newspaper almost every day. The lecturer asked him, he said, "You're the police, this case, how is it? Is it so much?" He said, "Yeah, every day you have a case like that." So what do you do? He said, "There is nothing could be done, because there is no law to govern this issue unless if the sister report. If she doesn't make a report, then nothing will happen. And these are family matters, she will not report. So the law says, unless if the father, that is also father. The father get to do something wrong against his daughter, then the law can take action against him. Other than that, the brother, the uncles, the nurse, the law doesn't get to decide this yet. We have to make the decision ourselves. What is the decision? I have to dress properly in the way Islam prescribed. The brothers and the sisters, everyone should dress properly. We have a brothers wearing something very tight. And tomorrow you see them talking to the sisters, you guys have to wear hijab. You have to wear hijab. Because hijab is not only for the sisters. Whatever is called awra in one of them, that place has to be covered with something which is not tight. That's Islam. So when you talk to the sisters, wear the hijab, you also should look at the way you're dressing. You see some people making sujood. Somebody was asking me, the imam was making sujood, but some part of his awra when he makes sujood comes out. Can we continue following him? No, you have to smack him. No. You must say Assalamu alaikum and remind him afterward. You can't pray with him because his prayer is batil if he knows. Allah SWT to guide us. Wallahi, we have to maintain these simple principles. Sometimes we think that this is a very conservative life, but we have to look at the reality. What is it happening in our society? Otherwise, we should just keep quiet. Do not talk about it. Let it happen. All of these oppressions and injustice and things that are against the norms, not even against the religion, against the norms, They are taking place because people are not observing the Sharia properly. This is our success. We live here. We have to understand what Allah says because He knows what fixes us. If I create something, the one who made the phones, they are the one who provide you the manual, right? How to fix it, how to control it, right? Allah created everything. So He knows us more than the way we know ourselves. This hijab, when I say hijab, I don't mean hijab for the sisters. No, I mean covering properly, decently in the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed. Allah is your honor, is your dignity, is your protection. Okay, whether you're male or you're female. And the only way for us to curb this injustice that is taking place in our communities and in family members is to observe the hijab properly. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us to the truth.
Do the brothers have any questions?
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. I was just listening to the earlier talk, and you were mentioning that risk is defined in the terms that everything is fixed. Yeah. So I want to ask, additionally, is a person's intellectual capability, the knowledge he seek, the languages he learn, the friendships, the enmity, and everything, is that also fixed? And could you please explain that as well?
Everything, whatever you have in this life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written who you're going to be exactly and precisely. Everything. But as I said, in Islam, we believe in two things. Dependent on Qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and making effort. You have tawakkul and you have the other one, tawakkul they call it. Tawakkul is, I said to myself, okay, I have my own car and I live in a place which is full of crimes and criminals. I brought my car next to the masjid or wherever, I leave it unlocked. Tell me, go unlock your car. I tell no, I do tawakkul on Allah Azza wa Jal. This is wrong Islamically. A man came to the masjid and he told Rasulullah, I left my camel out of the masjid untied. The Prophet ﷺ said, no, go back. أَعْقِلْهَا وَتَوَكَّلْ Allah. Tie it first and then depend on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because when I make my effort, this is what is called sabab. But this sabab cannot take place if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't make it work. Do you get the idea? That's the reason why I have to depend on Him. Then He will make the sabab work. I can't just stay home and then I expect the risk to come. No, it doesn't go like that. I have to look for it. But when I look for it, is it necessary that whenever I look for risk, I must get it? No. If you say risk is based on the effort, wallahi, those people who are building the bridge and they're building the house, they should be the richest people on earth. But they're not. You see somebody who doesn't do anything, sitting in his room, but he owns everything. You know? It is not based on the effort. Effort, it means you put physical effort, you have to get. No, we do believe that you have to put the effort, but then you have to believe that only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can make this effort something significant that can make it produce. But in terms of what you said, there is nothing in your life which you do, which you earn, which is not written by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, including your understanding of that which you're using as a skill. It is written. That's why I heard one of the contemporary scholars mention one poetry. I really love it so much. He says, وَقِسْمَةِ الْحُظُوظِ فِيهَا يَدْخُلُ فَهْمُ الْمَسَائِلِ الَّتِي تَنْعَقِلُ فَيُحْرَمُ الذَّكِيُّ مِنْ فَهْمٍ جَلِي إِنْ لَمْ يَكُنْ مِنْ حَظِّهِ فِي الْأَزَلِ. He says, قِسْمَةِ الْحُظُوظ, he's talking about the risk. He said, يَدْخُلُ فِيهَا فَهْمُ الْمَسَائِلِ الَّتِي تَنْعَقِلُ. Understanding issues. You know, sometimes you read something, you try to understand, you don't get it, but your friend will read it and get it. Sometimes you will be in a place, somebody will be talking. You can't understand what he says, but your friend understood. This is also risk. Allah decreed that he's going to get it, but you will not get it. That's why he says, فَيُحْرَمُ الذَّكِيُّ مِنْ فَهْمٍ جَلِي إِنْ لَمْ يَكُنْ مِنْ حَظِّهِ فِي الْأَزَلِ. You can see the smartest person, but in this case, he doesn't understand what we're talking about. But you can see somebody who is not smart, but he got it. Because that one, it is not written for him to get this issue. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed that he will not understand. And he will never understand. So that's why I say, whatever you do in this life, it is written. That this is going to be your choice. But there are certain things which is part of the divine decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, kawni. Like understanding the issue. These are all kawniyat. Good idea. So this one, you cannot decide what to happen. Sometimes you try your best. Although there is a system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala places in this life in which, inshallah, if you follow it, you're going to get it. But there are some people who follow exactly what you're following, but they couldn't make that conclusion you are making. Because it is not written for them. That's the reason why I said if you understand this concept of Qadr properly, you relax. You put your effort, but you know if Allah doesn't want it, it will not happen. The same goes to the risk. I put my effort to get risk, but I try my best. It doesn't work. I'm looking for a job. I go to this place, I was rejected. I go to this place, I failed in the interview. You know, a person will come back to the house depressed. So I studied, I got a good result, but at the same time the work doesn't come. Should I be depressed? No. I should keep on going. Depend on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask Him a solution. The solution is there. But maybe the time that is written for by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for me to get that job is not yet. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not bring it. Maybe those jobs are not good for me. If Allah is to give me those jobs, they're going to distract me from Him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deprive me from getting them. I don't know. I have a lot of assumptions. But if I put my trust in Allah and I believe that Allah will never give me that which harms me, I relax. I keep moving, keep looking for the best. But I will not worry that much if I miss something. Because I know what is not for me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never give it to me.
Do the sisters have any questions?
The last one.
Just to follow up, I've heard that risk is not all about money, and like the person's wealth, the person's knowledge, the person's health is all risk. So is that accurate?
Yeah, that's definitely. That's what I have just said now. Knowledge is risk. Children are risk. Good spouse is risk. Khalas.
Before you all leave, just a very quick announcement, inshallah. Do bear with me and watch this video.
How's that? Oh. That's all Zarif plot.
Under its spoken language, a country of unbridled energy and infinite talent.
How's that?
But it's not all positive. Nigeria has one of the largest extreme poverty populations in the world. Over 90 million people survive on less than $1.90 a day, and it's only getting worse. Every minute, 6 more people fall into extreme poverty. Access to electricity and clean water is a daily challenge. Malaria is rampant. Waterborne diseases threaten people's lives every single day. This is where Eneda comes in. In 2018, we fed 1,300 families through our Ultrail project. Last Ramadan, we supported 700 families through food packages. And in just 3 years, we have built 42 wells all across Nigeria, providing communities with clean water. We have built a few mosques, schools, and Islamic centers with the primary goal of providing people the pure, authentic teachings of Islam. It was beautiful. But we can only do so much on our own. We need your help. Years ago, after months of research with professionals and experts, we began the construction of an LPG station. Through this LPG plant, we'll be able to cover our operational costs and we'll be happy and more capable of serving the community through our welfare projects. We don't need to worry anymore whether we're going to make it to the next month or not. We're at the last stretch now. We need your final push, inclusively, so that we can pass this line. Our wealth project is your very Sadaqah that aims to support underprivileged communities in Nigeria for years to come sustainably. 1 cent is all we need, but please bear in mind, the $5 makes a difference. $50 makes an impact, and $500 is capable of changing lives. Your hereafter, built in today.
Okay, what next?
This one, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, we just need $47,000, inshallah, for the wealth project. Now, it may sound a lot. However, if we were to count the number of people in this venue, we're almost 47, if not more. And we all have rich relatives, alhamdulillah. Maybe you might be the rich one amongst your family. Just $1,000 per person. Share your part, and spread the message, and we can actually finish this wealth project. Not only that, we know it is a sadaqah jariyah, which means we'll get the reward from it, inshallah. So here's the donation link. Before you all leave, if I could humbly request everyone to please add this to your notepad if you want to donate later, or donate right now, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. I think I'll let you go now. We can all enjoy the refreshments outside. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Tomorrow is Friday, inshallah. Also, Sheikh Ibrahim is the director of another. Alhamdulillah, I think we all know this. Bashir insisted, so I have to mention this. Tomorrow is Friday, so the best prayer in congregation in the week is Fajr on Friday in the masjid.